I'm pregnant. We're going to be parents, my girlfriend beamed, just as I sat down to end the relationship. She refused to let me attend a single appointment. What I found on her laptop made my blood run cold. So this happened 2 days ago and I'm still processing it. I don't even know where to start, but I need outside perspective because I feel like I'm going crazy. Emily and I have been together for about 14 months. Things started great. She was fun, spontaneous, gorgeous, everything I thought I wanted. Those first few months were incredible. She was supportive when I was stressed about work, always down for adventures, and the chemistry was amazing. But over the past few months I've been noticing things that made me uncomfortable. She quit her part-time job about 6 months ago saying it was too stressful and the manager was creating a hostile work environment. At first I was sympathetic. Nobody should have to deal with workplace harassment. When I brought up later that maybe she should find something else, she'd get upset and say things like, "I thought you loved me," or "real men take care of their women." Since then, I've basically been covering all our expenses. Rent, groceries, her car payment, everything. I make decent money as a software engineer, but supporting two people wasn't what I signed up for when we started dating. Every time I tried to talk about finances, she'd either cry or get angry, saying I was being cheap and didn't understand how hard it was for women in the job market. It escalated gradually. She started expecting me to pay for everything: her nails, shopping trips with friends, expensive dinners. If I said no to anything, I was selfish and didn't really love her. She'd compare me to her exes, saying her last boyfriend never made her feel bad about spending money. The final straw was last weekend. She spent $800 on clothes without telling me, then got mad when I was upset about it. She said I was controlling and that couples share everything. But it only went one way. She never contributed anything. When I pointed this out, she accused me of keeping score in our relationship. I've been planning to have a serious conversation about our future. Honestly, I was ready to end things. The woman I fell for had turned into someone I didn't recognize, someone who felt entitled to my money and time without giving anything back. So Tuesday evening I asked her to sit down because we needed to talk. I was nervous as hell, but I knew it had to be done. But before I could even start, she got this weird smile, like she knew something I didn't. "Actually, I have something to tell you first," she said, and pulled out a pregnancy test from her purse. Positive, 2 pink lines clear as day. She was just beaming, practically glowing, saying, "I'm pregnant. We're going to be parents. Isn't this amazing? I've been waiting for the right moment to tell you." My stomach dropped through the floor. I just stared at that test, feeling like my entire life had just been decided for me. She was already talking about baby names and how we'd need to start looking at bigger apartments, and I couldn't process any of it. Here's where I feel like shit. My first thought wasn't happiness or excitement. It was trap. The timing felt too convenient, right as I was about to have the talk. The way she was watching my face, like she was gauging my reaction. But then I felt guilty for even thinking that. What kind of person suspects their girlfriend of lying about being pregnant? "I know it's a lot to process," she said, squeezing my hand. "But we're going to be such good parents. I can already picture our little family." Then she started talking about how this changed everything, how we needed to start planning for the future, how she'd obviously need to focus on the pregnancy instead of job hunting. I managed to stammer something about how surprising it was, how we'd need to talk about everything. But she was already 3 steps ahead, talking about doctor's appointments and prenatal vitamins, and how we should probably move in together officially since we'd need space for the baby. Since then, she's been showing symptoms: morning sickness, being tired all the time, suddenly being picky about food. She's been texting me constantly about pregnancy cravings and how hard it is to function. But every time I mention wanting to go to a doctor's appointment with her, she shuts it down immediately. "You lost the right to be involved when you were planning to abandon me and our baby," she said yesterday. I was completely dumbfounded. How did she even know I was thinking about breaking up? I never said anything, never gave any indication. "I could see it in your eyes," she claimed. "A woman knows when her man is checking out." She said she can't trust me around medical appointments until I show I'm all in. She scheduled her first prenatal appointment for next week, but I'm not invited. I've been walking around in a daze for 2 days. My mind keeps going back and forth between guilt and suspicion. Part of me thinks I'm being paranoid and awful for questioning this. If she really is pregnant, then I need to step up and be a man about it. But something in my gut is screaming that this doesn't feel right. Am I crazy for feeling suspicious? Is this just cold feet about becoming a father? I don't know what to do here. I feel trapped and guilty and confused all at the same time. Edit. Holy shit, this blew up. Reading all your comments, and a lot of you are saying things I was afraid to think myself. Going to process all this advice. To everyone asking, no, I haven't seen any actual medical confirmation, just the home test. She says she has an appointment next week, but I'm not invited. Update 1. Posted 2 weeks ago, you guys freaking called it. Every single person who said something was off, that I should trust my gut, you were right, and I was an idiot for ignoring my instincts. So here's what happened. Last Thursday, Emily said she had her first prenatal appointment. I asked again if I could come with her. I said I wanted to be supportive, that I was sorry for my initial reaction and wanted to be involved. She went into this whole speech about how I'd shown my true colors, and she couldn't trust me around the baby yet. She needed to protect herself and our child until I proved I was committed. That me wanting to come to appointments now was too little too late, and she needed time to see if I was really going to step up or if I was just acting out of guilt. The manipulation was so obvious once I started looking for it. She left for the appointment around 10 a.m., saying it might take a while since it was her first visit. She was gone for about 3 hours. When she came back, she had this whole story about the appointment, how the doctor said everything looked good. They did an ultrasound. The baby was measuring perfectly for 6 weeks. She even had a printout that looked like an ultrasound image, all grainy and black and white. Said the doctor gave her prenatal vitamins and scheduled her next appointment in 4 weeks. But here's the thing, I've been documenting everything since my last post, just writing down what she says and when. The timeline doesn't work. When she first told me she was pregnant, she said she was about 4 weeks along. But then at this appointment, suddenly she's 6 weeks. I try to do the math backward from when we last had unprotected sex, and none of it lines up properly. Either she was pregnant before she told me and lied about how far along she was, or the dates at this appointment were wrong. When I asked her about the timeline, she got irritated and said pregnancy dating is complicated, and I wouldn't understand. Also, I started actually watching her symptoms instead of just accepting them. The morning sickness is conveniently always when I'm around to see it, but I came home early from work twice this week, and she seemed fine. No nausea, eating normally. The second I walk in the door, suddenly she's running to the bathroom. The weird pregnancy cravings she keeps texting me about. I've never actually seen her eat any of the foods she claims to be craving. The food aversions change depending on what's convenient. Suddenly she can't stand the smell of coffee when I'm making it in the morning, but I've seen her drink coffee when she doesn't think I'm paying attention. The weirdest part was Saturday. We went to the grocery store and walked past the baby section. I expected her to want to look at stuff, get excited, start planning. Instead, she seemed uncomfortable and rushed us past it. When I mentioned maybe looking at cribs online later, she said it was too early and got irritated. Sunday night I tried a different approach. I sat her down and said I was sorry for how I reacted initially, that I was just scared but I'm ready to be supportive now. I asked if we could go to the next appointment together, that I wanted to see our baby and be involved. She got this panicked look for just a second before covering it with anger. Said she'd think about it, but I needed to prove myself first. Then she launched into this whole thing about how I need to show I'm financially committed, maybe look at bigger apartments, start buying baby stuff, show that I'm taking this seriously. It hit me then. Every conversation about the pregnancy somehow circles back to money. Not about her health, not about preparing emotionally for parenthood, not about our relationship. Just money. More money for rent, money for baby things, money for her because she can't work while pregnant. I'm starting to see a pattern I was blind to before. The job loss right around when I was getting serious doubts. The increased spending and entitlement to my money. The pregnancy news right as I was about to end things. The refusing to let me come to appointments. All of it feels orchestrated. My buddy Jake, who saw right through her from the beginning, pointed out something else when I told him about all this. She's been posting on social media about being pregnant, but in this weird, vague way. Like blessed and excited for this new chapter, and so grateful for this little miracle growing inside me, and can't wait to meet you, baby. Nothing specific, no due dates, no details about appointments or symptoms. Just enough to get sympathy and congratulations from people who don't know the full situation. When people comment asking for details, she responds with things like trying to keep some things private during this special time, or don't want to jinx anything. I feel sick thinking about this, but I can't shake the feeling that she's been playing me this whole time. If I'm wrong, I'm the worst boyfriend in the world. But if I'm right, then what the hell do I do? How do you even confront someone about faking a pregnancy? I'm going to try to go to the next appointment with her whether she likes it or not. If there really is a baby, I'll see it on the ultrasound and know I've been an asshole who needs to make serious amends. If there isn't, I don't even want to think about that possibility. Edit, the messages I'm getting are split between trust your gut and you're a monster for doubting a pregnant woman. I get both sides, I really do, but something isn't right here. For everyone asking about the ultrasound picture, I looked at it more closely and it doesn't have any identifying information on it. No doctor's name, no clinic logo, no date, no patient name. Shouldn't that stuff be on there? Update 2, posted 1 week ago. I can't believe I'm typing this. I'm still shaking and it's been 3 hours since I kicked her out of my apartment. Emily has been lying about everything. There is no baby. There never was. The whole thing was an elaborate manipulation to keep me from breaking up with her. I found out by complete accident. I had to leave work early today because of a migraine, so I came home around 2 p.m. instead of my usual 6. Emily's car was in the parking lot, but when I got to the apartment, I could hear her in the bathroom talking on the phone. Her laptop was open on the coffee table. I wasn't trying to snoop, I swear. I was just moving it to sit down and the screen woke up. There was a browser window open to some website selling realistic pregnancy bellies for theater and costumes. She had one in her cart, a fake pregnancy belly for $89.99. I just stared at the screen, feeling like the world was tilting sideways. My brain couldn't process what I was seeing. Then I heard her coming out of the bathroom and I quickly moved away from the laptop. She seemed nervous when she saw me home early, asking why I wasn't at work, if everything was okay. I told her about the migraine and asked how she was feeling. She immediately launched into complaints about morning sickness and being tired, how the baby was really active today, and making her uncomfortable. I watched her perform these symptoms I'd been worried about for weeks, and it was like seeing a magic trick once you know how it's done. The way she put her hand on her still flat stomach, the way she winced slightly like she was experiencing discomfort, the way she sighed and said she needed to lie down because the pregnancy was taking everything out of her. It was all an act and I'd been falling for it completely. I managed to keep it together until she went to take a shower. The second I heard the water running, I went back to the laptop. The browsing history was all there and it went back weeks. Fake pregnancy bellies. How to fake pregnancy symptoms. Fake ultrasound pictures. Making morning sickness look real. She'd been researching this for over a month, probably since right around when I started having doubts. There were forum posts about using pregnancy to save relationships, tips on timing the revelation for maximum impact, how to avoid doctor's appointments, how to make symptoms look convincing. One post made my blood run cold. Make sure to drop the news right when you think he's about to leave. The shock will buy you time to convince him to stay. Another. Don't let him come to early appointments, say you need time to trust him first. By the time he gets suspicious, you can claim miscarriage if needed. I took photos of everything with my phone. I wanted evidence because I knew she'd try to deny it or claim I was making it up. When she got out of the shower, I was sitting on the couch with her laptop open to the website. She saw it and went completely white. For a few seconds we just stared at each other. Then she tried to lie her way out of it. Said she was looking at that stuff because she was paranoid about her pregnancy, wanted to understand what was normal. That she was scared something was wrong because she wasn't showing yet and was looking up ways to feel more pregnant. It was complete bullshit and we both knew it. I asked her point blank, "Are you actually pregnant?" She started crying, saying I was being cruel and paranoid, that she couldn't believe I was accusing her of something so horrible. She put her hands on her stomach and said, "How can you doubt this? How can you doubt our child?" So I told her to prove it. Take a pregnancy test right now in front of me. If she was really pregnant, it would be positive and I'd apologize for everything and spend the rest of my life making it up to her. She refused, said it was humiliating and degrading, that she shouldn't have to prove anything to me. She said making her take a test was abusive and controlling, that I was showing my true colors. That's when I knew for absolute certain. If she was really pregnant, she would have taken the test immediately to prove me wrong. Instead, she was using emotional manipulation to avoid providing proof. I told her to get out. I said I knew about the forum posts, about the whole plan. She completely broke down, admitting everything between sobs. She said she knew I was going to leave her and she panicked. She could feel me pulling away over the past few months and she didn't know how to fix things between us. She thought if she was pregnant I'd stay and we could work on our problems together. She said she was going to tell me the truth eventually, then focus on rebuilding our relationship. Or maybe she'd try to actually get pregnant for real once I was committed to staying. The manipulation was unbelievable. She tried every angle to get me to forgive her, saying she did it because she loved me so much, that she was scared of losing me, that people do crazy things when they're desperate not to lose someone they love. When that didn't work, she got angry and said I was heartless, that I never really cared about her anyway, that this proved I was the selfish person she always suspected I was. She said if I really loved her, I'd understand why she felt desperate enough to do this. Then she went back to pleading, saying we could work through this, that everyone makes mistakes, that this could actually bring us closer together if I just forgive her. I just kept repeating that she needed to pack her things and leave. I couldn't look at her anymore. Every word out of her mouth was just more manipulation, more lies, more attempts to control the situation. I gave her 2 hours to pack her stuff and get out. She kept trying to negotiate, saying we could work through this, that everyone makes mistakes. I just kept repeating that she needed to leave. She finally left around 7 p.m., still crying and begging me to reconsider. I've been sitting here since then, just processing everything. 3 weeks of agony, thinking I was going to be a father, questioning my own sanity, all because she didn't want to face the consequences of being a shitty partner. The worst part is how she almost had me convinced I was the problem, that I was selfish and unsupportive. Even when my gut was screaming that something was wrong, I felt guilty for not trusting her. She's probably been planning this since she quit her job and started bleeding me dry financially. I'm done. Completely done. I've blocked her number and I'm changing the locks tomorrow. If she tries to contact me through other people or shows up here, I'm calling the police. Edit. She's been calling and texting from different numbers. I'm not answering any of them, but I'm screenshotting everything in case I need a restraining order. She just showed up at my apartment crying and begging. I didn't answer the door and called building security. They escorted her out but said she seemed really distraught and asked if I was sure I didn't want to talk to her. Jesus Christ. Final update. Posted 3 days ago. This is my final update on this whole nightmare. The Emily situation is finally resolved, but it got worse before it got better. After I kicked her out last week, she went completely unhinged. She started contacting my friends, family, even my coworkers, telling them I abandoned her and our baby. She painted this whole picture of me as a deadbeat dad who threw her out on the streets when she was pregnant and vulnerable. My mom called me crying, asking how I could do such a thing. My sister was furious with me before I could explain. Several coworkers were giving me dirty looks. Emily had crafted this whole sob story about being scared and alone, and everyone bought it. The worst part was she posted on Facebook about it. A long, emotional post about being a single mother-to-be because her boyfriend couldn't handle the responsibility. It got shared dozens of times. People I barely knew were commenting about what a piece of trash I was. I realized I had to tell the truth publicly, or this was going to destroy my reputation forever. So I made my own Facebook post. I kept it factual and calm, explained that Emily had admitted to faking the pregnancy, that I had evidence of her researching fake pregnancy products, and that there was never actually a baby. I posted screenshots of her browser history from her laptop. I'd taken photos before she came back from the shower. I also recorded our final conversation where she admitted everything, so I had audio proof. The response was immediate and brutal. Everyone who had been attacking me suddenly went silent. The friends who had taken her side were apologizing within hours. Her own friends started commenting that they'd had suspicions but hadn't wanted to say anything. Emily lost it completely. She tried to claim I'd fabricated the evidence, that I was weaponizing technology against her. But too many people had seen the proof, and her story completely fell apart. She started harassing me through different phone numbers and social media accounts. She showed up at my apartment building twice more, once screaming in the lobby that I'd ruined her life, until security escorted her out. I finally had to file for a restraining order yesterday. The hearing was surreal. She actually tried to argue that she'd only lied because she loved me so much. The judge was not impressed, especially when I presented evidence of the harassment, the false statements to my family and coworkers, and her continued attempts to contact me after I'd told her to stop. I got the restraining order. She has to stay 500 feet away from me, my apartment, and my workplace. She's also not allowed to contact me directly or through third parties, and she can't post about me on social media. I'm doing a lot better now. I'm back in therapy working through the emotional abuse I didn't even realize I was experiencing. I've reconnected with friends Emily had slowly isolated me from. My family understands what really happened and they're supportive. Most importantly, I'm not angry anymore. I was furious for the first few days, but now I just feel sorry for Emily. She destroyed our relationship, her friendships, and her reputation because she couldn't handle the idea of being accountable for her actions. That's actually really sad. Thanks to everyone here who helped me see clearly when I couldn't trust my own judgment. I'm done with updates now. Time to focus on building a healthier future. Edit, for the people asking about Emily, as far as I know she's moved back in with her parents. I don't keep tabs on her and I don't want to know. The restraining order is in place, and that's enough for me.